Here are the top 10 things I want to return to the Kingdom Hearts series.
One who knows nothing can understand nothing.
One of the greatest thrills of playing video games is the feeling of exploration. Discovering something new or exploring something for the first time is just so fun. I could wax eloquent or dig into the philosophy of why it's fun, but I don't know the reason. Besides, that's not really the point of the video. I like it, and that's all that needs to be known. I know other people like it as well, which is why I want the question mark over the world icons to return. The question marks feels like you're exploring uncharted territory. As you selected the world and made the journey, the anticipation built. Sometimes the world icon didn't give a clear indication of what Disney World you were going to encounter. So even when you arrived, it was still a question of where you were. At least as a kid, it felt that way. I'm not sure if I had encountered these worlds as an adult, if I might have recognized the world icons right away. I see it like a movie or book. If the contents are spoiled, you lose a lot of the excitement. If you know what's going to happen, it feels more routine. However, if I were to implement it in further titles, I would have it be similar to KH3. Just change the icons on the World Select screen to a green circle or something, and maybe the battle level. Everything else would remain the same. Imagine how fun it would be with KH3's travel system traveling to an unknown destination. It's such a small and simple implementation that would just go a long way. I don't know how KH4 will do world travel if there is a gummy ship or not, but if and when the gummy ship comes back, I would love for it to look like this.
I'm a scientist. Experiments are what I do.
I love tech points. Just a little reward for fighting creatively and thinking outside the box. You have some obvious ones like countering at the right time or simple elemental differences. Then some not so obvious ones like hitting the fat bandit's belly enough times, but only when he's breathing in. Tech points are like Easter eggs. First, you get the joy of finding one and that sweet dopamine rush of number go up. Tech points incentivize players to not just button mash. If you fight smarter or more skillfully, you level up faster. One of the few times you get an immersive experience of Sora/you getting better at combat in more ways than one. Every time you discover a new tech point, you become a better player. If tech points were to return, I would probably remove the points from countering, unless it was a specific counter to an enemy like Ice Titan. For the most part, I think it should be unique to each enemy, like if you use different tools in your arsenal instead of just matching magic to the enemy. Maybe you could get techs from using a specific summon or shot lock, flow motion, whatever. Especially considering how big Sora's combat options have gotten since 1.
Heartless! Donald! Goofy!
Although this feature is new to me, it's pretty old to others. Kingdom Hearts Final Mix is pretty old, but I've just recently started playing it. One of my favorite new additions was the special new Heartless. These Heartless are rare and only show up sometimes. The game makes them appearing in event on their own. The other games have special spawns, but make them a minigame. Mushroom 13, Unversed Missions, Flantastic 7, and special portals from Dream Drop Distance. Aside from the special portal, these were all just minigames. The special portals were just mob fights with special conditions. The special Heartless, for the most part, are not minigames or regular mob fights. I would see them as combat challenges where you have to fight creatively. The only exception would be the Black Ballad, which I don't want to see return. Just like I mentioned in tech points, I like when you have to fight creatively and have to strategize. If there is a return of Special Heartless, I don't want them to be minigames. If they return as combat challenges, I would like them to utilize all of Sora's techniques. Like imagine a Heartless that keeps jumping a great distance away from you, and the only way to catch up is to air step to it. It could give practice for the player to air step and utilize the massive worlds that have been added to the series, flying all over the massive battlefield. Or there could be a Heartless that requires a specific flow motion move to damage it. Or you have to chase it through a flow motion jungle gym or obstacle course. Or maybe something unique like capturing a certain number of Heartless with Ralph's lights. The more you capture, the better. I know that Ralph may not return, but use the really unique aspects of gameplay to fight unique Heartless. I think it would also be nice to have more than one way to beat said Heartless. Maybe like 3 or 4 techniques, and depending on how good you are at that technique, the better you do. Just like the Sniper World, you can use Mushu, Dumbo, Stop, or just brute force it.
But Sora, I thought you liked games.
The next feature, I like a very specific part of it, but as the whole, it's not really my thing. I don't really like Winnie the Pooh in general. I do like parts of the world, but for the most part, it's a no for me, dog. The thing I like the most is finding a torn page in big chests. Best part of the world in my opinion. One more reason Kingdom Hearts 3's 100 Acre Wood is a downgrade. I don't want 100 Acre Wood to return, but I want to find more paper or items to progress a world. I did have an idea to have a return of Fantasian with sheet music instead of torn pages. But honestly, I would be okay with it being another idea. I think we can have more episodic worlds, even if it's not Winnie the Pooh. Atlantica was able to pull it off. I would just like to find those progressions in chests. I crave those random dopamine hits. I would also love if those worlds were filled with great item drops.
And what are we gonna do? Build an entire amusement park?
One of the most exciting expectations, at least for me, for Kingdom Hearts 3, was the attraction flow. I love the Disney parks, and I just love amusement parks in general. So seeing amusement park rides as attacks fits Kingdom Hearts perfectly and spoke to me on a cosmic level. I know attraction flow was not very popular, and I can kind of see where people are coming from. But as the saying goes, you can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs. The concept is there, it just needs a little tweaking. Magic, Flow Motion, Shot Locks have all made returns with little tweaks to improve, so why can't attraction flow? I think it would need 3 things to be all it can be. Number 1, unlock it gradually like the other spells/summons. Number 2, it needs a cost and can be used at any time, like summons. Number 3, maybe tweak the damage output. Essentially, make the attractions their own summons. I think you can get a lot of enjoyment from attraction flow. Great attractions like Mountain Coaster, Teacups, and the pinnacle Splash Run. I would love to see Splash Run against some super bosses. I would also love to see different attractions. Imagine a drop ride like the Tower of Terror, a flying attack similar to Soarin', or maybe you get a smuggler's run after visiting the Star Wars world, or an Indiana Jones ride after the world based on that. Think of the potential.
I'm also better than you.
In the case of Drive forms, Otter Smoothie does not want them to return. I actually want Keyblade transformations. I feel like Keyblade transformations are a happy medium between drive forms and command styles. I do like both, but I think Keyblade transformations just barely squeaks out the victory. Some of my favorites are Hyper Hammer, Twin Yo-Yos, and Star Shooter. Keyblade transformations have the edge with the myriad of playstyles. All kinds of different combat. Guns, magic, defense, flag. Drive forms have 3. 2 Keyblades, Shooter, and Feral. Command styles have style, but all end in Keyblade swings. The only downside of Keyblade transformations, in my opinion, is there's too many repeats. Although it kinda makes sense to have stronger versions of combat styles, I just prefer when reaching endgame and getting stronger Keyblades, I want new crazy attack moves, not just a reskin. If I were to redo Keyblade transformations, I would have no repeats, or if there are any repeats, have them closer together in the story, or maybe give them different damage types. I think there is more potential for Keyblade transformations. In my Fantasia video, I suggested a musical transformation where the Keyblade turns into a conducting stick, or give Sora a melee transformation, like giving Sora gauntlets or brass knuckles. I also would like to start a Keyblade transformation whenever I want, like drive forms, and it spends a resource. Maybe if we could launch it whenever we want, it could play into the special Heartless spawns, or tech points like matching a Keyblade transformation to a Heartless.
You're stupid!
Have you seen the memes? Have you seen the memes about me? Posting them should be a crime.
Videos with these tips are a dime a dozen, so much so that the idea of the info has become a meme. This is because every world in Kingdom Hearts 1 has some kind of puzzle or interactive element. This gives a nice item, fun experience, and tons of replayability. Not to mention content. I'm convinced there is still some niche thing that is yet to be discovered in the game. For these reasons, I would love for puzzles to return in Kingdom Hearts 4 or other games. I think finding creative solutions is so fun, especially when the puzzle gives you no hints or even indication that it's even there. You feel such a surge of accomplishment when you discover it. These puzzles are one of my favorite parts of Kingdom Hearts 1. This may be because I really enjoy puzzles in a game, but to be frank, Kingdom Hearts 1 has some of the best puzzles in gaming. What other game has people still discovering things about it or talking about new discoveries? If the puzzles were to return, I would prefer them to be less obvious, less like the fire door and more like the teddy bear in Wonderland. Not to say that the fire door is bad or that each interactable has to be as complex as the teddy bear, but I think in general these aspects add a lot of mileage to a world. Kingdom Hearts 1 used these interactables in making the world's mazes to extend playtime in worlds. It was not just a point A to point B. Despite the worlds being much smaller, there was a lot more stopping to smell the roses to take in all the details. Games after 1, you just rush through the landscape, for the most part. Kingdom Hearts 3 does this a little, and I love the big worlds, but just impede my progress sometimes, you know? My fear is that there would be too much hand-holding going on. For example, people loved interacting with Rapunzel during their trip, but each one has so much dialogue and clues to figure out the right thing to do. Instead, I would prefer less clues, or at least not verbal clues, or verbal clues that don't spell it out for me. In Toy Box, you find a vent fan that impedes your progress, and the game says you have to wait for it to stop, as if I can't see it on my screen right in front of me. Compare this to Agrabah, when you can't enter the boss arena until you destroy a random pillar rooms away. My child mind never struggled with this. I was accustomed to exploring the world and fidgeting with things that I ended up destroying the pillar before I even knew that it was blocking something. To equate that to Toy Box, one way to make it a puzzle is the fan is at full power, and you find a thermostat to make it glitch and only turn on sometimes. That is a direct copy of Agrabah, but at least it's something. All I want is to just let me think and don't just tell me.
I'm the answer to your prayers.
One of my favorite parts of Kingdom Hearts 1 was finding the Dalmatians. It was always nice to randomly find some pups and then every once in a while get a reward for it. In general, collectathons are really fun, obviously. There's wrong ways to do it, like a map full of them that just feels like a checklist. I think maybe a key aspect of the fun of a collectathon is the search. If that's taken away and you're just told on the map, it loses a lot of the fun. Of course, it's hard with maps getting bigger and bigger. Maybe the sweet spot would be like search areas placed on the map that make the search go from the full map to select areas, and then allows you to know it's only around that spot, giving you the search without it being overwhelming. Kingdom Hearts doesn't have much of that issue with the chests. I think the comparison of it done well and it done poorly is the Caribbean to San Francisco. Caribbean being an example of search zones with the islands, and San Fran being an open map. Check out Regular Pat's Large Worlds video. I think he articulates the issue really well and explores the reason that the Caribbean is such a beloved world. Kingdom Hearts has a lot of different collectibles throughout the games. I had an idea for, instead of torn pages, find sheets of music for Fantasia 2000. Perhaps this could be a way to incorporate a Disney property that wouldn't work super well as a world. Perhaps finding items for Fagin to sell or collecting cash for May to go see Four Town. But the biggest one that people are clamoring for is collecting the experiments from Lilo and Stitch. However, I'm not content just opening chests for this collectible. Collecting experiments has so much potential. I came up with a lot of ideas of how to incorporate these guys in this video. Check that out if you want a more in-depth look of how I want that to return. And if you do, sorry for the audio, I was Experimenting. I was still figuring things out, so sorry for the audio. Just like I loved Attraction Flow because it had more park representation, I would also love a return of Lucky Emblems for the same reason. I love the concept of Lucky Emblems in general. Finding hidden Mickeys are a staple of the Disney park experience, my favorite being the Hollywood Studios courtyard. Despite the memes, I think the constant reminders of Lucky Emblems is the only way it could work. With the worlds being so big and without telling you exactly where they are, it's kind of similar to the search areas idea I suggested. They only tell you the general area when you enter it. I don't know if I'd like being told the areas, but at the same time, I don't want to have no indication and have to comb through every inch of a massive world. I'm not sure the best way to implement or give the clues. I'm sure there's some happy medium between no indications and hints. If they return, perhaps the experience could be fine-tuned after the test run in 3. My favorite emblems are the ones that don't look like the exact logo, but use the scenery in the world to blend in. If they were to look like the logo, I would like them hidden like under the clown in Monstropolis. Listen, I just like them, I want them back.
There is more to seek. So go forth now and seek it.
The next thing involves the previous points in a general sense, but others not mentioned. The next thing I would want to return would be reasons to return to worlds. Whether it's Trinity marks, stickers, or out-of-reach chests. Collectibles that have no way to be obtained the first time around. Usually, you get these when you unlock movement abilities, as seen in 1, 2 Final Mix, and Birth by Sleep, or something specific like Trinity marks. Other reasons to return include enemy minigames, spawns, Mushroom 13, Unversed missions, flawns, you get the deal. I do enjoy these minigames, but I want more of the other reasons, primarily because it encourages continued exploration of the worlds. The biggest one I want to return are out-of-reach chests, and would also love a Trinity Mark-esque collectible. I think 1 did it the best with reasons to return to worlds. I felt like I was constantly jumping all over the cosmos. Of course, the aforementioned Trinity and chests, but there was also tournaments, mushrooms, interactables, special spawns, puppies, minigames. Almost every world had multiple reasons to return at different parts of the game. 3 has a lot less of these in my opinion. A few minigames and lucky emblems and chests you could all theoretically get in the first visit. Just like the others, you can get a lot of good mileage the more reasons you have to return, and variety. I'm sure this aspect will return, as it's in almost every Kingdom Hearts game, but I would also like the variety and style of 1 to return the most, however that may look.